Hello and welcome to episode 24 of the Renault Master Camper conversion. In this episode I'm going to be doing something with this rear door frame. It looks a bit unsightly, it's a bit awkward to try and build something around it, but I've put together a plan, so I will show you what I'm going to do to try and make this bit look a little bit better. I recently finished this piece, so now we're going to move on to the back and try and get this looking nice as well. So we have a few things to contend with, this cable here. Now I did think about drilling through here, getting it all, trying to hide it all, but it meant taking all the cables out. Bit of a piddly job, and then we still had to build a frame on here anyway, so I thought, no, I'll figure this out a different way. So what I'm going to do is stick a bit of batten on here. I already have it, so it's nearly where I want it, and then I'm going to draw around the shape of the van. We don't want any voids in the van because we're wasting space, and space is not something we have much of. With this bit, I'm going to stick a batten on top of here, the same, and then I've got something to fix a panel to. Now, I'll probably cut this off. This is a high top van, and this is probably something to do with the normal height vans, because all the framework's the same, they just put a different top on top, and this is fiberglass. So I'm going to cut that off, I'm going to cut part of this off, I'm going to make this into a cupboard. But first of all, we need to cover up this panel and build some sort of framework. So that's what I'm going to start on now. And I've already cut one piece, and I'm going to get on with that now and talk you through what I'm doing, and I will show you how it looks in the end. Okay, so I've started by screwing the batten here, and these will be where I fix it as well, and I'll also glue it. So I made sure this measurement here was the same on both sides, and obviously I marked it when I put it in place. I could sort of see by here it was roughly at the bottom of that bit there. So I've got it parallel with the van, so it's in the right position, but now it's there. I'm gonna trace around here and then cut this to that shape. So I've cut this piece here off with an angle grinder. There is a line here that's straight, so you can follow it. The top line of the frame. So I just cut the angle grinder in and just coming it along, it followed the line. So once I remove this piece, then I'll just be able to clean this up so it's not sharp. But I'm going to cut it into this way, that way, so it's flat, and then cut off that. So I'm going to do that now, then I'm going to have a look and see if my original plan is going to work, or I might be able to come up with a better plan. Next, I cut off this piece by following the metal line that I just cut. I followed along there. This is going to give me better access for cutting it off on the other side, and this is where you've got to be really careful, because but just below it, the black bit is where it's bonded to the actual van, so we don't want to cut anywhere near that, because we don't want any leaks or to weaken the structure. So we're going to cut these lips off now, and then we're ready to start the next piece. This is how it looks when it's been cut out. So now it's time to clean up, but before we do that, I'm just going to file this edge. I've done it with a grinder, but I'm just going to do it with a proper file, just so I can get in there and get all the burrs gone. And then we're going to hoover up, and then start battening out the front of this rail. The curved piece is now ready. I just cut it using a jigsaw and then tied it up with a bit of sandpaper. So I've checked it to see if it fits. It looks nice, so I'm going to blowtorch it now and then get it fitted. The bottom piece is in and blowtorched. Got two fixings in the end. I might put more fixings in, but I'll see. So with this piece, I'm finding an equal part to line it up each side. So there's a little bit of a lip there. So I'm lining it up there, then I'm tracing around the shape, and I'm going to cut that out and screw it down, so that then converts that curve into a flat top across the top of the batten. The top piece has now been fitted. Now I'm considering putting some like sliding doors on here, so I can have a little cupboard up there. So that would mean I'd have to put another batten across the top, so that's flat, and then that's why the top of that batten is flat. But I'm not sure yet, so I'm going to move on with lining the back and the bottom of the cupboard or shelf, whatever it's going to be, and then I'm going to have to close off these two side pieces too. I'm waiting for the carpet to line that, and I'm going to do the underside of that as well. So while I'm waiting for that, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put some panels on here. I could carpet around all this, but I think I'll just put panels in there up to about here, wherever it is, and then we'll carpet from that and around. So I've got some wood, so I'm going to cut that up and get these panels done. Now I'm going to use carpet because I'm thinking about the weight, so carpet up there and around there, and the time. To do this all out of wood would take a lot of time, and then we're going to add a lot more weight, so we're going to have to start adding some carpet in there to reduce the weight. That's one piece done. I didn't go all the way up to here, there's no need for it really. I put a square on here, squared it round and marked this pencil marks and measured it to be 400, and then obviously the width was about 160. So this sheet come in 800 by 200, so I wasn't going to buy a bigger sheet just for a tiny little bit. Also I had to curve this out a little bit more just to get this bottom square here, but now it's in there nice and square, so it's ready to fix in once it's blow torched. Then I can varnish it. It was a bit tricky, this one, so I initially cut this straight and then I cut a back angle on it with the circular saw, cutting this way, and then I use the angle grinder and I use the circular saw first to carve out the back just to take the bulk of it out, and then I use the angle grinder just to shape it where it needed it. Kept testing it in there until I got it back there square, and that is basically the final result. So I'm going to do the other side and then we'll be ready to carpet around here, and then I can move on to doing the top here. I'll probably move on with these next, so I need to figure out how to do these. These bits are a bit of a pain in the ass, but I'm going to put a block in here, level with this, and then down here, and just box that whole lot in, so then we lose this, we lose that. So it's a bit smaller, but it's okay. It will just go all the way back. Once that's done, the carpet's done, the underside's done, we can put a face panel on there, and then we've got this here, which some people say it's a part of the immobiliser, some people say it's a tracker, so I need to figure out what it is because it has a switch on the bottom and it needs to be accessible, I guess. So just in case we need to replace it or someone needs to replace it, we don't want to hide stuff in there. So that's where I'm at with this, so I'm going to carry on, get this side done, and then we'll move on to the next part. Now these two are complete, I'm moving on to building this boxing up here. So I'm going to start here. So I've cutting these pieces in. It's got an angle that way and an angle that way, so a bit of a difficult one with a curve on top. That'll go in there, and I'm going to run another timber along here, one along the ceiling, and then build some little studs in there. And that'll be that side, and then do the same on that side. I've changed how I've designed this now. I was going to screw a batten in between there, but now I'm screwing it from there to there. So this is the piece I made it earlier, and then I realised I couldn't fit this one until I put the ceiling batten on. It was pretty straightforward. Square bit of batten. It does have a slight angle on it because this piece here is angled, but so you can see now it lines up there. So now that that is in, I can put this rail which goes here, and that's obviously the reason I changed the design is because I want it to drop down lower than this so that we can hide this bit here, but that was basically the lowest point there. So now that hides all of that, so I can clad the front of that and clad the underside of that, and then we get rid of this silly little thing up there. The framework is now done here. I might put another up right in the corner, but I'm going to build the other side first and see what timber I've got left. And then I will be putting a piece of wood across here so it boxes in this piece, and this will project out as a shelf similar to this. Then we use a tangrove cladding on here, and I might have to put a little panel over here because I've got dehumidifiers in the corner because the roof is vented, so if any moisture does get in there, it's going to be drawn into that and collected there. So now that that is done, I'm going to get the other side done, and then we can get the cladding on. Before I put the shelf in, I'm going to put a side piece of the shelf, so it's like the end of the bookcase sort of thing. You'll see when I build it. So from here to here is 100mm, so the shelf will project 44mm from this line here. So basically transferred that 44mm onto a piece of timber, and then measured all the measurements, got what it's going to be. There might be a bit of a gap here at the bottom, but I'm not too bothered about that because there will be cladding going over it, so it will eventually be covered. So this is what I've got. So this is the point here where it's 100mm to here, and this is your 44 line. So this is all the measurements I've got, so I'm going to trace this out, and then hopefully this piece should fit into there, and then that'll be the side of the shelf, and then I can put the shelf in next, and I can nail it in here. Just give it a bit of extra support, and it's a way of finishing the end. So I'm going to do that now, and hopefully it goes well. That's a nice tight fit. So now it's in there. I did have to adjust it a little bit. There's a bit of an angle on here, so I had to cut that angle away, also to just widen this a little bit. But that's a nice tight fit, so I'm happy with that. So now what I'm going to do is mark where the shelf will sit on this side, and then we're going to measure down a little bit more, and then we're going to put a curve on here to wherever this sticks out. Now I have to build a box in, so it's going to stick out a bit more because I want to make it the same size as this one. So we're going to pack this out by about 30 millimeters and put cladding over the top. So we need to allow about 40 millimeters here for this, and then we'll curve that up just to soften the edge a little bit. We don't want to whack our heads on the corner of that when we get in bed. Also, it looks a bit unsightly now, so we'll make it look nice and neat. Once that's done, we'll fit that in, get the shelf in, and then we can start cladding out all of this. It's come out really good. Now I've got the shelf in as well, so now I'm ready to do the cladding on here, and then I can start boxing this in. Doesn't need to be boxed in, but I'm going to match it to the other side because there's the pipe, as I said earlier. So a couple of bits of 30mm batten on there, going that way, and then the cladding over the top. So it'll match here. There'll be 30mm to cover this, and then this one will be the same. So now I've got a plan with this. I'm going to crack on with it and get it done, and then I will show you the final piece. Now the cladding is done, it's looking pretty nice. I'm glad I come up with this idea to make a shelf out of it, because otherwise it just looks like a weird boxing thing, but at least it's got a purpose now. So there's going to be like a bracket here which has bungee cords going all the way across to here, and then you can put books and anything you want in there really. So we've made a bit of storage out of it, as well as sort of getting rid of these silly little boxing things and making it look nice. So the next job would be to put the battens across here, but I need something to finish the edge against, so I've had to carve out the bit of the metal frame there. So this piece goes in here, and it's slightly higher than the metal there, and obviously it drops down to this line here. So that when we roll the carpet round, we tuck it in behind there, and then we can put the carpet along here, and we can put like a trim across there to hide the joint of the carpet, so it tucks behind a little trim. So now that piece is in, I'm going to blowtorch it and then fix that in there. Then I can move on to cladding the bottom of this. This side is now complete, and it's also had a coat of varnish. So I'm waiting for the awning rail to come to do the other side, because I might have to put some plates on the inside because I've got a fibreglass roof. But I'm happy with how this has come out. However, I'm looking forward to getting the other side done and then completing this back piece. Okay, so the awning bar is 1200 long, and I have 3 of them. Now that I've drilled the hole onto the inside, I've marked where it goes, which means I can then hold my awning bar up there, line it up, and then mark the centre, and the end is over there. When I bring the camera around, it's this line here is where the hole is. So obviously this is going to be a joint in the awning bar, so I'll be putting a longer batten in that bit, so both parts of the awning bar can screw to that batten. With this one here, now I didn't want to drill into this because it's a structural component. So I drilled a hole to the side, and then I slid the batten. So now the centre batten is glued in. I've also glued in this batten here. So my next one is to glue in this batten. Now I can get this side done. I've been doing an awning bar on the side of the van, so I had to wait for that to come to work out where I needed to put blocks. So I've basically glued blocks in behind here to the side of the van to screw the awning bar to. Now I've done another video on that, so that will be the next episode, but for now we're going to crack on with this. Now with this one, we got this cable, so that's why I boxed out the other side to match this side, and I've cut the shelf round here, around the cable, so I can tuck that up there. And then we got the battens that I'm going to screw over there. Now I've got to make sure we remember the position of this cable, because we don't want to nail into the cable, because that's going to be an absolute disaster. So we've got my blocks ready, so now I'm going to get these screwed up and then get the cladding done on this one and get it varnished. Now the framework is done, I can do the cladding. One thing I did do is just stuff some of the wool that was in there down around this screw. Same on that one, it's just these two. This conduit runs down this channel, so we don't want the conduit rubbing against the screws. So there's wool underneath the conduit and to the side, so it's lifted the conduit up a bit. These screws don't matter because the conduit runs along the bottom, and then there's no conduit in there. And this batten, I had to put it downhill a little bit. I kept missing this batten here because the framework twists in a bit. I couldn't get a good fixing. I have fixed it just to stop it from bouncing when I nail it, but this one is holding it to stop it from wriggling around. Like I said, I kept missing the batten because I've shaped it to get the conduit through, so just dropped it down. It doesn't matter, it's just something to nail the cladding to. So I'm going to get cladding done now, and then it's ready for varnishing. The rest has already been varnished. This has been varnished, this has been varnished. I wanted to get this done because I've got to carpet this and stick it to here, so trying to varnish while there's carpet there, I'm going to get it on the carpet. So I thought I'd best do that, and then I can stick the carpet to it. Now that this piece is done, I'm going to move on to the back to get the woodwork finished. The top piece will be removable and it will sit on top of these shelves. So I'm going to make the top piece to fit in, just so I can make the bottom bit slot together and everything look right. I'm not going to blowtorch it or fit the top piece yet because I need to blowtorch it and varnish it separately. If I varnish it on here, it will stick, the varnish will stick them together. So I need to separately varnish the top piece. And I will work on it at a later date. So I've added this bar in here to strengthen it. This obviously takes the top of this tongue and groove because it will be holding in the top piece. So I needed that on there to make it stronger. And then I've reinforced the bottom here. The carpet can stick over that, and this also gives a bit more strength, and I've screwed it here and here. So now that is done, I am going to get the top piece in, and then I'm going to cut the bottom piece to fit, and then blowtorch it and nail it in. Then I can varnish the bottom piece and this piece. Now I want to varnish this all first, and then the next job will be to fit the carpet under the bottom and then in the cupboard. So I've got the top piece in to fit, which allows me to get the bottom piece in line. So now it's also holding the bottom piece in there. I have traced around here, and now I'm going to cut that out, leaving a bit of a lip for the carpet to go up to. I'm going to get that done on the jigsaw, then I can get this blowtorched and fitted, and then it's all ready for varnishing. That piece is now cut, so I didn't cut directly on the line, I cut a few millimetres away because I wanted to leave maximum lip for the carpet to be hidden. So I'm just going to tidy that up and then get it blowtorched and get it fixed on there. So that bit come out very nice. I ain't got time to do the top. It's getting late, so I just want to get this varnished and this piece varnished, and then I can go and chill out for a bit. Now I'm ready to fit some carpet. I'm going to start by cutting a piece slightly oversized for what I need. I'm using a bit of masking tape, drawing on it with a straight line. I'm going to cut it with some scissors. The masking tape didn't stick very well, so if it doesn't work, then I'll just freehand the other cut, and if it does, then I will mask up that bit and then cut the rest of the section out. The tape and the scissors didn't really work that well, so I've got my knife and my straight edge, and I managed to find a board to cut it on. My first piece is cut to a rough size. I've masked up around the edges because I'm going to use a spray glue, so I'm going to spray it on, and I'm going to spray it on the back of the carpet, and I'm going to leave it for 2 minutes to go tacky, and then I will get it up. I'm going to start by sticking it up this side. It is a stretch carpet, so there's a bit of a curve in the roof. So I'll try and fold it to that shape, then I'll stretch it round to match the other side. And then it will just be a case of pushing it down to the bottom, and then I will flap it back, and then I will spray the bottom and the back of the carpet. So I'm only going to do this back piece first and then the bottom after, but I'm going to use one piece of carpet so we don't have a seam in the middle. I've sprayed the back wall, and I've also sprayed the top part of the carpet. So that should be about ready now to go and stick that in there, and then I can get the bottom stuck down with the same technique. The back piece is now stuck in, so I have laid out the carpet where it should sit, and now I'm just going to cut this lip off of what extra I've got there, spray it, spray the bottom, and then stick it all down, and then that will be that section done. I used some tape to secure it to the wall so I could spray the underside of the carpet as well as the base I'm gluing it to. So it needs 2 minutes just to go tacky, so it should be ready now. So I'm going to get that stuck down, and then that will be job done. Now the carpet is fitted in the shelf/storage area. I've put on the front removable panel and blowtorched it just so we can see how it looks. I'm going to remove it and varnish it later, and I also need to coat this with another coat of varnish. It needs 3 coats, it's only had 1, so another 2 more coats, but I'll have to wait 12 hours between coats. and then this bottom panel will be varnished. So I can't get this carpet on here yet until this is varnished, otherwise I'll risk getting varnish on the carpet. So I will leave this and do it at a later date. I also need to make a headboard, so when I make the headboard I will show you how it looks from the bed as a finished product. I also need to put some side panels in here, removable panels, because I have some dehumidifiers in each corner because the roof is ventilated, so if we do get any moisture in there it will be absorbed into them. But this one here is complete, apart from the bungee cords. They have a little bracket screws on here and the bungee cords go across. They are specifically designed for camper vans, so it's a way how you can keep things on the shelf whilst obviously driving and stuff like that. So that's why I put this little shelf in like that, because then I can make use of it, as well as hiding the boxing and the cables on this side. If you found this video helpful or you just enjoyed watching it, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. And if you're interested to see how the camper van turns out in the end, then again, subscribe to the channel. Now you can tell October's here because you can see the cold in my breath, which is not great because the days get shorter and the working conditions aren't as great. You know, I've got to do this outside. I've not got much space in this camper van, but we're going to get it done, no doubt, anyway. So I best start cracking on and really knuckling down on it before it does get real cold and horrible outside.